Chris Kindred, the guy that allegedly kicked off Gamergate 2.0, got canned officially. Yep, Chris Kindred is no longer with Sweet Baby Inc. The same guy who built a career around sensitivity reading, virtue signaling, and trying to cancel others is now open for work. Might have the turntables turned. You really can't make this up. And the man who tried to control the gaming narrative just lost control of his own. Let's go ahead and break this beautiful disaster down. Now, normally, I don't try to relish in people losing their jobs, but this guy, and I use that term loosely because you don't know what preferred pronouns they want to use. This individual was responsible for attempting to contact people like Smash JT's places of employment to try to get them to lose their job. About 7 months ago, we reported that Sweet Baby Inc. might have actually let go of Chris Kindred. And if you remember, there was all that nonsense with Cabrutus Rambo and the Sweet Baby Inc. detected nonsense where this individual called for people to report Sweet Baby Inc. detected and get them banned off of Steam. A list that is literally letting people know what games Sweet Baby Inc. had their hands in. And then from there, everybody's favorite former Kotaku senior editor, Alyssa Mercante, wrote her article, Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what you think it does, or it just kicked off all this mess, right? So here's a tweet from Master of the TDS. Shoutouts to them. All right, so Chris Kindred. Yeah, this is Chris Kindred, narrative designer who is accused of lighting the spark for Gamergate 2.0. This all but confirms that they are officially looking for work. And I've seen people on that side of the fence, oh, look, these guys are relishing that people are unemployed and that they're looking for work. No, you reap what you sow, all right? You reap what you sow. This comes again after months and months of rumors and whispers in the gaming sphere. It's finally confirmed. And guess what? You played yourself, Kindred. They're out at Sweet Baby Inc. And no, it wasn't some triumphant departure. It was literally a quiet fart in the wind. There was no big, I'm moving on to bigger things moment. There was no, I resigned and I have a big opportunity. No, you got dumped, you got ghosted, you're scrubbed from bios, and it's all damage control. Plain and simple, right? So again, like I said, the source was this post from Master of the TDS. Shout outs to them. They screen capped Kindred's new open for work status. Apparently, they've been teaching game design. I don't know. Imagine going to a class being taught by somebody that's a woke, progressive artard, but that's neither here nor there. Now they're ready to offer new perspectives, right? According to their thing, you can see, now that I'm situated after teaching game design at Pratt this past spring, I'm open for projects. If you have a game or interactive project that needs additional writing, extra game design know-how, or a unique socio-cultural perspective, let's get in touch. So if you remember, part of what Sweet Baby Inc. does is that they try to inject this DEI agenda into their games. It's narrative consultancy. Basically, it's how can we get the modern audience catered to for this game. It's not how can we make a better game. It's all about pleasing the small percentage of people that don't support video games. If you look at Dustborn, Concord, every game that's touched it, Suicide Squad, you name it, they all fail. Every game that we've talked about, with a couple exceptions here or there, like Assassin's Creed Shadows did okay. For the most part, Sweet Baby Inc. is a nail in the coffin for your video game. And the proof's in the pudding when all these people that work for these companies end up being booted out because all the stuff that they feed these studios ultimately fails. And yeah, apparently they didn't learn their lesson because they're still offering sensitivity reading. All right, because again, like I said, if there's one thing that a video game needs, it's someone policing your script, literally looking at your script, crossing stuff out, striking things out, moving around, rearranging it, adding stuff in for emotional offenses that will trigger people while the gameplay falls apart. It's not gameplay or entertainment focused. It's weird. And thankfully, it seems like it's going away. It's not completely away. It's still hidden underneath different names. But they don't know their lesson. They don't learn their lesson. And I thank God every day USAID got dismantled because I think it ultimately affects this. We don't need taxpayer monies funding stuff like DEI, especially in video gaming or entertainment. But that's a whole other conversation here. I have no idea who would want to make a video game and contact somebody like Kindred or Sweet Baby Inc. for sensitivity training for them. I mean, who wouldn't want the guy credited in projects that have been slammed for awkward, cringy dialogue to consult on writing? That just sounds like it's going to be a successful project, right? Indie developers, don't fall for it. Do not let these people gaslight you into thinking that they need to work on your game. And if they try to threaten you, like allegedly Kim Belair said on a presentation that you got to scare the marketing department to get what you want, do not let them scare you. These people literally have said and gone on record that they want to burn the games industry to the ground so that they can get their political commentary, their political narratives injected into what you're playing. They want to basically indoctrinate people. And I know people go, oh, the normal gamer doesn't care about this. They just need to know if a game is good or not. Well, look how often the track record is for the games that these people work on. And look at them always having to move on, leaving jobs. Even it trickles down from the top all the way to the bottom, guys. But this is patient zero. This is the individual that started all that nonsense with Cabrutus Rambo. Right? And here's the kicker on top of this. And this is the playbook. Chris Kindred is a person who claims to be chronically harassed online. Right? And for whatever reason, they're dropping their contact info right here. Their contact info, their personal website for everyone to see. That's pretty strange behavior for someone that's supposedly hounded by trolls, right? No, it's that victim complex that they all have, that they have to feel that they're a victim, they're a martyr for their cause. It's almost like they like to out-victim each other. Oh, Chris Kindred's a victim, I have to become a victim. Oh, this guy's a victim, I have to be this. I have to do that. No, they can't take criticism. We've already established this since day one, right? And what's even funnier about this is Chris Kindred kept Sweet Baby Inc. in their bio for months after allegedly getting fired. Like, months. Why was that? Was it ego? Was it delusion? Or maybe Sweet Baby Inc. was trying to cover its tracks until it became near impossible to keep the secret out. Well, this was a pretty bad kept secret, right? Whether it was a quiet push from Kim Belair or Chris Kindred themselves trying to distance themselves from the fallout so that they wouldn't be harassed even more or people would talk about it. We will never know. But this definitely reeks of some kind of PR cleanup, some damage control. It is weird that suddenly they just came out and like, hey, I'm looking for new projects. But ultimately, they're not going to tell us because Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't want you to know what they do in this gaming industry, which is why they have journalists, allegedly, in my opinion, cover up for them, run damage control, write hit pieces against companies that don't work with them, that disagree with them, like all the stuff that happened with Black Myth Wukong, right? It's all there. If you go down this Sweet Baby Inc. rabbit hole, it is wild to take a look at and see how much stuff is just so coincidentally covered up, swept, how often these people attack people that are critical of them. Again, like I mentioned, Chris Kindred actually contacted employers, former and current, I think, of Smash JT, not even a little over a year ago. Because why? Because it made videos being critical of them. And let's be real about this, guys. Chris Kindred's firing, it's not just about their work, all right? Oh, you're just upset because somebody's making games that aren't for you chuds, right? That's what it's always about. It's about the stink they left behind. They literally left a trail of stink. There's backlash. There's exposure. There's this avalanche again that I mentioned that started when Sweet Baby Inc. literally tried to silence their critics. And instead, it just caused a Streisand effect. It literally magnified Sweet Baby Inc. into gamers' minds. It literally magnified influencers like myself, Hypnotic, you name it, covering them. It caused a Streisand effect, and it put everything that these people do into the spotlight. And it drug names like Chris Kindred down with them. Chris Kindred didn't just create drama. They amplified it, guys. And they will never to this day acknowledge that. They tried to deplatform creators. They tried to label dissenters as bigots. That's their favorite word. And it turned a niche group of critics into a full-blown movement. I mean, look what happened to Smash. Once he started being critical of them, once Mercante tried to throw lawsuits his way, he blew up. Bigger than he's ever been. He was stuck at like 15,000 for years. And now he's crushing it because of people like Chris Kindred, Mercante, Kim Belair, you name it. So now Chris Kindred is out. They're flying solo, right? Like that one song. I'm riding solo. I'm riding solo, solo. And they are basically pitching themselves with this like freelance ideologue, right? They have this whole spiel down. I'm a freelancer. I've done this and done that. Well, maybe they're going to get picked up by another clueless studio that's looking for some kind of checkbox to tick on the DEI checklist. Maybe they're going to be putting fries in a bag soon. Who knows right this right? But honestly, the irony in the situation is pretty delicious. You know, speaking of French fries. But let's don't forget this whole mess. Chris Kindred actually did video games a favor, right? This whole mess was exposed thanks to games like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. It was a $200 million flop that literally pulled the curtain back on Sweet Baby Inc.'s influence in the gaming industry. And from there, like I said, it just unraveled. And it's all thanks to Chris Kindred. The secrets, the credits, the manufactured outrage. So shout outs to Chris Kindred. You tried to run the narrative and it ended up just backfiring in your face and becoming it. Like the narrative just, you know, everything that you tried to do just went against you. You built the stage, and now you're the one that's getting booed off of it. And call it karma, call it poetic justice, whatever you want to call it, guys. In my opinion, it's well deserved. So I'm going to leave it right there. Thank you guys for watching so much. Leave a like or dislike. Put a comment down below and let me know your thoughts about this situation. And don't forget to hit that subscription button. I'll see you on the next one, guys.